am Sonia Stedman, and I don't think the Santa myth is a good idea. My mama is from the Philippines, and they don't do Santa over there. Because of this, my brothers and I didn't grow up with Santa. But my brothers got to do this prank where they paid homage to St. Nicholas by leaving gifts of candy on the doorstep and then ringing the doorbell and running away. This was back before I was born, when they still lived in California, and they lived in a suburb which comes with a feature called neighbors. So me growing up in the country in Minnesota, I didn't get to play this game, and it made me sort of sad to learn that. I am not sad that I didn't have Santa, and for a few reasons. I'll start off with a silly one. There's this thing bullies like to do where they go up to little kids and tell them Santa isn't real, just to make them cry. So imagine their disappointed confusion when I just sort of looked at them like, yeah? Of course he isn't real. He's like Frosty the Snowman, a story. Why are you telling me this? Well, I mean, I was like 6 or something at the time, so I'm pretty sure I wasn't quite that eloquent, but I am certain I was just as squinty-eyed. So, disarming bullies and skipping over at least one of the many childhood traumas. Speaking of, reason the second. I don't think we should be lying to kids. I mean, there are situations where I'm sure it is appropriate to be deceptive. No, sweetie, your auntie doesn't hate you. But I am certain those situations are few and far between. And I should also like to state here that I am not saying that children should not have magic in their lives. No, not at all. It should be more like what we do with imaginary friends. Parents don't go up to their kids and tell them that they're going to have an imaginary friend and then introduce them to the imaginary friend and tell them what this imaginary friend's going to... You don't do any of that. The kid comes up with an imaginary friend on their own, and the parent plays along. That's the system. I think that's a reasonable system. You just let the kid play, and eventually they grow out of it, and nobody's upset at each other. 'Cause that's the deal with the lying to kids. Eventually they learn that Santa isn't real, and you've been lying to them for years. I've never been through it, so maybe I just don't get it, but I can't help but think that hurts a relationship when someone you depend on, someone you love, and you learn that you can't trust them. In entertainment, when someone tells any other kind of lie to a kid, it's treated as this horrible thing that causes serious harm. But for some reason, society has decided that this lie is the exception. Why? Anyway, moving on to the third reason. When a kid thinks it's a magic man bringing the presents and not their parents, well, of course they're not going to be grateful to their parents for the presents. And more importantly, they are not going to take their family situation into account when they're making out their Christmas list. If the kid understands money well enough to know that their parents can't afford the thing they want, well, that's not a problem for Santa. And so they'll include things on their list that they know their parents cannot get them. And I'm not just assuming that. That is a thing that I have heard people confess to, something that they feel guilty for putting their parents through. Either the gift happens and the kid is confused as to why they are eating nothing but ramen noodles for a few months afterwards, and they will not say thank you to their mother for working overtime, or the gift doesn't happen and the kid gets angry at Santa and hates Santa, and Santa is a lie twice in their life. I guess that's the reason why. Someone else to blame when the presents suck. And reason 4. All those people who try to dress up as Santa and hop down the chimney. This results in injury and property damage if they told someone beforehand what they plan to do, and it results in death and emotional trauma for the people who find the corpse a month later if they wanted it to be a surprise. So, yeah, I'd call the Santa myth a terrible idea. Okay, I'm sure I pissed off at least one person. Bring it. And, oh, hey, like and subscribe. Okay, bye. Love ya!